Jeanette, this coming at a time when Prime Minister Modi and his government continue to get sued across courts in the country. What is the latest here?
Thanks for having me. Prime Minister Modi and his government have come under intense criticism from citizens across the country, not just for their handling of the pandemic, but for certain steps that are believed to have actually made the pandemic worse. For instance, Prime Minister Modi himself green-lighted a massive religious ceremony when in the midst of the pandemic. He attended massive election rallies at the peak of the pandemic as well, where he actually seemed to have bragged about the size of the crowds that attended his rallies. It comes as no surprise that, as Reuters reports, that he will be missing the G7. He will be skipping the G7 meeting. Remember, just a couple of weeks ago also, India's delegation to the G7 actually had two people who tested positive for the coronavirus, and following which the foreign minister himself had to go into self-isolation. So these two incidences, Prime Minister Modi himself under criticism from citizens, and including being sued in court, and really the fracas that happened at the G7 with the Indian delegation a couple of weeks ago, that would have fed into the decision as well.
Jeanette, when it comes to the vaccine rollout, we've heard the central government asking India's states to prioritise those who are due for the second dose of the vaccine. So are we seeing much coherence when it comes to the vaccine rollout and how that strategy could help alleviate just the sheer number of cases that we're seeing at the moment still?
There have been several recent flip-flops in India's vaccine strategy. Prime Minister Modi earlier was under intense fire for controlling the allocation of vaccine doses to the states. And when he came under intense criticism, he abruptly opened up policy, which means he told states, you guys purchase your own doses. And of course, he opened it up so that all Indian adults, everyone over the age of 18 could be vaccinated, compared with only people above the age of 45 earlier. So what that has done is that has created a bottleneck because everyone's rushed to buy a limited supply of vaccines. India is facing a severe vaccine crunch right now. In several states, the governments have already told their citizens that, unfortunately, we cannot vaccinate anyone below the age of 45 because we have to prioritize our doses for people above the age of 45 who've received their first dose and are due their second. That's the state of play, really. There's an acute vaccine shortage in India. And unless supply doses are improved by imports, by approving other vaccines which so far aren't in use in India, this crunch will likely continue.